All right, then you guys have it. Start opening. Make sure you guys each know what role you're taking.
Before you became a teacher, or even before your first job, what was the career you wanted to pursue?
I actually went to college as pre-law. So I was an English major with intent for law, so I took like criminology classes, and then I ended up sitting with a professor who was one of my favorite professors, and she was like, I think you would be great at education. So I took one education class and it just came very naturally. So I ended up switching my major and I think probably the third or fourth year of teaching, I went ahead and took the LSATs, got into law school, and never went. Because then I was like, I don't really think I want to do that. It's so much. So that was what I intended on doing when I started college, but not where I ended up.
Can you just tell us what's going on with the games and stuff here?
Yeah, so Journalism 1, Intro to Journalism, they are doing a sports story unit. So we've been working on what are the characteristics of a sports story, what is the kind of information you need to be able to gather to write a sports story, and we've been looking at like sample sports stories that have been written. So next week, they as a group will be writing a sports story, and one of the number one rules of sports story is you got to actually be there. You got to be involved in it. You can't get notes from someone else. So their sport is going to be a board game. And so each group is playing that board game while gathering that same sports information. And they're going to use that to write a sports story next week.
How many years have you been here at Riverview?
This is my 6th year at Riverview. My 26th year teaching.
Wow. What classes do you teach?
English 4 honors, Journalism 1, and yearbook advisor.
So, like you just said, we know you're in charge of yearbook. Can you just kind of take us through how that process went and how it's going to today?
Okay, so that is a long process.
Yeah.
So yearbooks are done for this year. You guys will get them in like a week. We have already started next year's book. It takes us pretty much the whole of quarter 4 and all summer to come up with what is going to be our theme, what is going to be that story for the year, what story do we want to tell, what is going to be the color scheme that matches that, how are we going to design it, what that cover will look like, what do we want to cover, and organize it. It takes us pretty much this whole 9 weeks and all summer. The kids do work over the summer on prepping that. So essentially when we get to day 1 of next year, they're ready to start stories.
So you and I were just talking about how, this class is really specifically student-led. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So, it's a student production. So while I'm the advisor, I don't create this book. It is 100% their book. I'm here just to advise and make sure that everything's done the way it should. It looks the way it should. Editing's done, proofreading, and there's nothing that goes in it that shouldn't. But it is 100% student run. So it is that complete tier where your editors and leaders are at the top, and then your staff. And so their first line of defense is the editors before they even ever come to me.
Yeah.
So they're the ones who assign them, what needs to be covered, assigns them their pages. Editors are in charge of designing and making sure the designs are correct. I'm just here to monitor it and make sure it's what it should be.
So this will be the last question we have for you today. We're almost finished with the school year. Can you just reflect on how this year has gone and what you are looking forward to next year?
I think this year's been smooth. But as a whole, I kind of feel like that in general, because it's the idea of your routine, your organization. I have great kids. I don't really worry about my students. I worry about them in the sense I want them to succeed, and my seniors I want to graduate, but I don't really worry about them causing problems, doing things. And so that's always really nice. As far as next year, I'm looking forward to summer. Let's start there first, because I'm going to go out of the country for a while in the summer. So then I can recoup, relax, regenerate, and then next year I'll pretty much have a whole schedule of journalism and publications. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, that's all we've got for you today, Ms. Hunsucker. Thank you for letting us come here and sit down and talking with you.
Perfect. Thank you.